For many consumers living in first-tier cities, it is much simpler to get a license plate for a pure electric new energy vehicle than a license plate for a fuel-powered vehicle. And now that the domestic electric vehicle market has matured, many consumers will consider buying a new energy pure electric model. What about test driving this car today? It is already the end of the new energy model that Zhao Wei has tested this year, but his identity will be a little special. He is an independent joint venture brand. This is the Siming X-NV from Dongfeng Honda beside me. As you can see, our car is a car logo with a Siming logo. In my impression, this Siming car logo still exists. In a few years, the 8th generation Honda Civic with the Siming logo sold very well. At that time, I seemed to be still in college, but a few years have passed, and he has now transformed into an XR version of the pure electric model X-NV. Do you really want to know where this car has changed? Okay, let's take a look. In fact, the exterior design of this car can be seen at a glance, and our Honda XR is made in the same room. Both the overall appearance and its body size are the same as the XR, but there are still big differences in many details. For example, this logo. I don't know if friends who buy this car in the future will go to Taobao to buy a big Honda logo and hang it up. You can think about it. In addition, the design of the entire front of the car has a blue decorative strip to show its new energy body, including one of our charging ports under our logo. It is divided into fast charge and slow charge. In the case of fast charge, it can be charged to 80% within half an hour, and slow charge can be filled in 9 hours, which is also very convenient. And below, I personally think that the slightly more complicated design lies in this piece, because our headlight is an eye-opening design, which is actually quite lean and refined. But here the fog lights and daytime running lights are all gathered together, and then there will be a little bit of visual fatigue. But fortunately, our car has a relatively high user base, so it is still acceptable. Okay, let's take another look at the size of this car. The 2,61 ohm wheelbase is exactly the same as the XR. So from the side, it looks like a very typical small SUV size. Then on the side of our body, there will also be a small feeling of slipping back, but it's a pity. When this car was unveiled at the Shanghai Auto Show, it was a two-colored body, but now a production-based version does not have a two-colored body. There will be a silver guard plate below, but we should pay attention when it rains. Then the design of a hidden door opening in our rear door panel also runs through. And in terms of tires, we also equipped us with a 17-inch tire from Puliston's Explorer. Although the size is not large, the overall size is still relatively commensurate. Coming to the tail, there are actually not many special places. A small black spoiler still has the character of this young man. Coupled with our penetrating taillight design, many manufacturers will also like this design name. In fact, overall, although this car does not have many highlights at all, it is fortunately very safe, so the user's acceptance should be relatively high. Let's open the tail box and have a look. For Honda models, they are very good at using space, so even if it is a small SUV, its trunk space I think is acceptable. But after our rear seats are put down, it does not last a full screen state, because our bottom is equipped with batteries after all, right? But there is a small benefit to tell everyone. In the past, when we said to buy Honda models, we all bought engines and delivered cars. This time, I came to this car to buy a car and get a scooter. When you see our tail box, there will be a special setting, a design of this scooter. And then I tried this scooter in the morning. Very lightweight. It can drive 10 kilometers and charge once, so for many users, we can drive to the subway station and then ride a scooter to work. So I think it is a very good tool for commuting. How do you feel? Do you have the heart to buy a car for a scooter? Let's go inside the car and have a look. Now Zhao Bai has come in the car of this X-NV. As soon as I get into this car, I feel that it is not as fancy as the interior design of many mainstream cars nowadays. The first feeling is very simple and practical, and it also reveals a little bit of retro feeling, especially the air outlet of our front central control, which itself is a turbine shape, a small whirlwind shape, and then includes two air air outlets in front of our co-pilot, plus a chrome trimmed strip. The big view from a distance looks like two big white eyes, which I think is quite cute. Then there is a multimedia screen in the middle, plus the touch panel of our air conditioner below, which is all touch controlled. But fortunately, there will be some physical buttons next to our multimedia for us to use, so as not to blindly operate. The overall style of the central control is similar to that of the X-NV, and we have replaced it with this button-type gear shift. But fortunately, there is a large storage pavilion below, as well as 2 US ports and a shaft power supply. Because for Honda, they are very good at using space. Even the cup holder among us is a magic cup holder. Although our car does not have this magic seat, the utilization rate of storage space in the front row is very high, then the overall interior style is more homely. There will be some blue thread to sew the edges, and then it can be seen that this is a new energy model, and then including our central control. We also use this brushed blue panel to decorate it, so it feels quite retro. But one thing is our car. I have tried both cars, and they are both manual seats, which may also be Honda's style. Then there is the fact that if it is a low-end model, most of its interior is wrapped in that kind of woven fabric. And our car, like our seats, including the door panels, is leather. But in front of us, including the bottom, it is plastic. And the plastic on the top feels a little bit stronger. Okay, let's show us again. With a wheelbase of 2,61 ohm, it doesn't sound too big, but Honda is very good at using space. Positioned in a small SUV, when I sit in the back row, this sense of sight is like a wheelbase of more than 2,700 meters. Look at my legroom. In front of me is my driving sitting position, and there are 3 such distances in my legs, so it's really exaggerated. And because we are a new energy model, although there is a battery under it, the rear seat is also in a full screen state. The rear row is also equipped with a 12-volt power supply, which is a pity compared to a cup holder. There is no USB interface, and all 3 headrests are available, and the length of the rear seat cushion and the softness I think are very good, so Honda is very suitable for this kind of home furnishing model. And although the size of the panoramic sunroof is not that big, I think the field of view is okay. Now Zhao Wei is driving this X-NV model. In fact, broadly understood, he is a pure electric version of the X-NV model. This car is equipped with a permanent magnet motor for us on the front axle, with a maximum power of 120 kilowatts and a maximum torque of 218 Nm. According to the official data given to us, its battery life can reach 401 kilometers under the comprehensive situation of NEG. However, because there is a short test drive, there is no way to measure its final actual range for everyone. But with Honda's consistent style, this range should still be the closest to our actual usage situation. Let me briefly talk to you about the driving experience of this car. It will be divided into 2 driving modes, one standard and one sport, and only 2 driving in standard mode. This car is actually very easy to use, which is different from ordinary pure electric models. When you give fuel, or when you take it in, its drag is not so strong, so for the passengers in the car, including the driver, it is not so easy to get motion sickness. But if you adjust its driving mode to sports, the whole 2 driving sensations are very different. In sports mode, the power it gives us through the electric gate is very direct, so if we need to overtake or accelerate sharply, you can directly adjust it to sports mode, which will give you that kind of speed, and the acceleration is very strong. However, you may also need to sacrifice a certain range to complete your pursuit of speed. In front of our gear, there will be a B button. If you press it, the car will start the power-saving mode, which is to maximize the power recovery for you. It can be activated in an emergency or when the battery is about to run out. In addition, in terms of chassis, this car is equipped with a non-independent suspension with front maption and rear torsion beam, including its fuel version. In fact, this is still a model of Honda that is more tuned to this sports mode because it is actually mainly aimed at users. It is still more biased towards young people, so its entire chassis tuning is not completely tuned in terms of comfort. When we cross the pit hurdle, we can actually feel the sense of road that the whole chassis gives us. But I personally find it harder, and some of the finer bumps are not filtered out. The charging results still don't feel so tight. This can be regarded as one of its shortcomings. Let's sum it up in the end. For today's short test drive, I have several advantages and disadvantages for this car. The advantage is that it is very easy to use, and the whole car, regardless of the appearance and interior, is well accepted by everyone, and there is no need for a transition process. What about the disadvantages? There are also 2 points. The first point point is that the entire chassis of this car is relatively tough and not as comfortable as imagined. The second point is that when this car is driving at high speed, when we exceed 80 kilometers per hour, its tire noise, including current noise, will be a little bit loud. Basically, it will affect the normal conversation of the passengers in the car a little bit. But if we only drive about 60 kilometers in the city, it is basically completely okay. These are some of my thoughts for today's short test drive. That's a sentence in the end. If the price of this car can be in a very high price range of about 150,000, then this Dongfeng Honda Forest X-NV with Forest Meow still has a certain market performance. Let's look forward to it together.